I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Well, is it a good idea to give control of your finances to someone else through a power of attorney? Well, the answer could be maybe yes and maybe no. It depends on the circumstances. Certainly it's foolish to give a power of attorney to someone who isn't trustworthy. It's equally foolish to refuse to consider a power of attorney in circumstances where it could serve you well. Best-selling author Patricia Cornwell has made the news recently in a case where a power of attorney might have been given too easily. She has charged a financial management firm with negligence, alleging that it cost her millions of dollars in giving them the power of attorney. She hired the firm to take care of her financial affairs, and in doing so authorized its manager with a power of attorney to make decisions on her behalf. At the other extreme, one of my clients was taking care of financial matters for her elderly father who had Alzheimer's. Yet when she mentioned a power of attorney to him, her father refused to sign one. Even with his memory failing, he had retained the idea that giving the control of his money to someone else was a really bad idea. People don't necessarily realize that a power of attorney can offer a whole range of options between go ahead and do everything and you can't do anything. There are many situations where a limited power of attorney might be useful. Such a document authorizes someone to act on your behalf only for one narrow purpose or a very short period of time. It spells out the boundaries of that person's authority, and it often expires after so many days or months, maybe even years. One common use for a limited power of attorney is to facilitate the sale of a piece of property, especially if you're not in that location. If you have to move to Ohio, but your house back in Nebraska hasn't sold yet, you can authorize a trusted friend or relative or professional to handle that transaction for you. Another way a limited power of attorney is often used is to have someone take care of your affairs while you're temporarily unavailable or incapable. Take this. Suppose you're undergoing treatment for a serious illness or injury, or maybe you're taking a 3-month trip around the world. You might want to authorize a family member to pay your bills and make other necessary financial decisions for you. The authority may be as broad or as narrow as you deem appropriate. A lot of couples execute durable powers of attorney, granting their spouses or children broad authority to act on their behalf if they become disabled. This has become a pretty common and helpful component of retirement or old age planning. But it's interesting, though, that I see far fewer people using the limited power of attorneys than I do the more permanent power of attorneys. I think one reason for this may be the expense and the hassle of drawing a limited power of attorney. You don't necessarily want to hire an attorney to draw up a complex document every time you go on vacation for a week or two. If you think limited powers of attorney might be useful to you, one possibility might be to look online. There's several sites that offer legal forms at reasonable rates. But you've got to be sure that the forms are valid in your state and that you understand what you're signing. A lot of these are one-size-fits-all, and sometimes a one-size-fits-all isn't going to fit your particular situation. Another option that comes to mind might be to see if your attorney would draft one document for you as a template, including language to cover various situations, and then you could adapt it as needed for specific purposes. Or you could give them a call and they could very easily, at a very reasonable cost, draft a document for you. But whatever the circumstances, remember that a power of attorney is useful, but a potentially dangerous tool. It's a bit like a chainsaw. An expert can make beautiful sculpture with it, but an amateur can cut someone's leg off. Before you put that much power into anyone's hands, make sure that you can trust the person to use it well. Thanks for listening.